Hello everyone, and a special welcome today to all those of you who have asked and asked and asked for me to talk about Gamera. I have gotten so many requests for a Gamera video, whether it was a review of the original movie, the 90s trilogy, or the entire 12-movie series. Are you going to review Gamera is the one thing I've been asked on this channel more than anything else. I think a lot of you specifically wanted me to see the Heisei trilogy, which is usually referred to as being actually good, but I decided that I ought to see the original movie that introduced Gamera first for some context, because unlike when I reviewed Godzilla, I had never seen a Gamera movie before. I had only a vague and not very complimentary idea of what Gamera even was, which is why, over 2 years ago now, when people first started to ask if I'd talk about it, I was like, I don't think so. That's this character, right? I don't think I need to do that. But here we are, you all convinced me. Gamera the Giant Monster, Japanese title Daikaiju Gamera, came out in 1965, produced by the Daiei Motion Picture Company and directed by Noriaki Yuasa. A group of unidentified aircraft is sighted in the Arctic. When the aircraft don't respond, the United States Air Force fires at them. One of the aircraft crashes, resulting in a surprise detonation of an atomic bomb. The blast cracks the ice, and out comes Gamera, a legendary giant turtle of ancient origin. The film has two major storylines. One follows a zoologist, Dr. Hidaka, played by Eiji Funakoshi, his assistant, and a photographer who are on an assignment in the north and witness in the distance first the mushroom cloud and then Gamera. Dr. Hidaka later becomes instrumental in the global effort to identify, track, and ultimately defeat Gamera. The other storyline is more domestic, following a young boy named Toshio, played by Yoshihiro Uchida. Toshio. I looked it up and got conflicting answers, emphasis on the first syllable, on the second syllable, on first and second syllables simultaneously somehow. I don't know. Thanks for nothing, Internet. He's a lonely kid who's gone through some rough transitions. The only thing in the world he cares about is his pet turtle. When his father and older sister make him set the turtle free, he's crushed. But right after that, he has a close encounter with Gamera, who saves his life. This incident gives Toshio a sympathetic connection with Gamera. Both storylines feature characters who are pursuing Gamera, so inevitably they intersect. Dr. Hidaka and Toshio are equally reluctant to see harm come to the kaiju, the one because he sees Gamera as a rare living specimen, the other because he sees Gamera as a friend. But while Dr. Hidaka is inclined to bite his tongue and let the military have their way, Toshio gets right in there with a youthful disregard for authority and stands up for Gamera. I found several of the kids in the Godzilla series to be annoying. Not all of them, but quite a few of them, and I think that this kid is more palatable, though he can be a little reckless, running around, getting into dangerous situations, and causing other people to risk their lives to go in after him. But he makes a good, heartfelt argument on Gamera's behalf. He's somewhat convinced that his pet turtle has turned into Gamera, and that Gamera is really good, not a monster that needs to be destroyed. Absolutely, this movie was influenced by the success of Toho's Godzilla series and other tokusatsu monster movies. By 1965, there were already 5 Godzilla films, and the 6th, Invasion of Astro Monster, was coming out. Plus, there'd been independent kaiju successes as well, like Mothra and Rodan. The producers at Daiei essentially assessed the situation and said, hey, why don't we take a stab at this giant monster business and see how it goes? And it went pretty well, considering the success of this movie and the longevity of the franchise, which saw 2 phases. Gamera isn't as popular as Godzilla, but 12 movies isn't anything to sneeze at, and he has his superfans. Gamera in this film is about 60 meters tall, and I can't be the only one who thinks he bears a slight resemblance to Godzilla, but with fangs and a sort of spiky turtle shell. Like Godzilla, he can breathe fire, and he's impervious to heavy artillery, and getting tangled in high-tension lines only makes him stronger. His kind is noted in ancient artifacts and writings, and it's believed he has ties to the lost city of Atlantis. His eyes dart around a bit, which is fun, and the weirdest thing about him is the way he walks, which physically seems wrong. My mom was onto something when she said, "I never saw any other turtle walk upright." He tends to lumber. I guess that's fitting. He is a turtle. But also the rubber suit was so heavy that it was difficult for the stuntmen inside to walk around. There is one major thing, though, that Gamera's got that Godzilla, in most films at least, doesn't have. This was one of my favorite parts of the movie. The story about a giant fire-breathing turtle is all over the news, and then people around the world start to report flying saucer sightings, and that ousts Gamera from the front page. But after the Special Defense Forces attempt to stop Gamera with freeze bombs flips him onto his back, he retracts his head and limbs, turns on his rockets, and takes to the air. Gamera can fly! Gamera was the flying saucer! I don't know how I managed to forget that Gamera can fly, but I did! So this was such a fun surprise. This part also tickled me. Oh, he's on the move alright. Apparently there are 3 different versions of this movie, and each one varies a bit. There's the original Japanese version with English subtitles, which is the version that I saw. There's the original English language dub, released in 1966 as Gamera the Invincible, which added a number of scenes featuring American actors, including Albert Decker and Brian Donlevy. And there's the other dubbed version, the so-called Sandy Frank dub, which was released for home video in the mid-80s. Chances are you might have a slightly different opinion of this movie based on which version you're familiar with. I can't really speak about that. I can't speak to the differences between the different movies, having seen only the one. It was the one I wanted to see, though. Given the choice between subs and dubs, I almost always choose the subs. And I thought the movie was okay. Some scenes were better than others. I was surprised how much English was spoken in the movie by both Japanese and American actors. Actors? That seems like a stretch.
Huge turtle. 60 meters. What's going on around here?
I don't know, sir. Looks like a huge turtle made its appearance.
Well, I will have to order up the observation planes to find out what's going on.
The writing wasn't very good, but neither was his reading. The first half of the film moves fast, with lots of quick shots, especially in the opening sequence. Keeping things moving prevents you from scrutinizing certain images too closely, but even when it's a brief shot, it's pretty obvious that model cars, boats, and airplanes were heavily used. Not that that's a bad thing, you're trying to stay under budget. The second half seems slower as the movie falls into the familiar pattern where the military tries one tactic which doesn't work, and the counterattack goes on for a bit too long, and then there's a rest period while they figure out what to try next. Gamera the Giant Monster has the distinction of being the last kaiju movie in black and white, and as is often the case in this genre, many of the monster scenes occur at night. Unfortunately, the nighttime scenes in this movie felt especially dark and obscure. It could be the print quality. Regardless, it was awfully hard to tell what we were looking at sometimes. The resolution of the whole thing, the Z-plan, is a little outlandish, I think, but at this point, I feel like I shouldn't be surprised by anything. Not even a random dance break in the middle of the movie. Because Gamera isn't supposed to be as antagonistic as Godzilla was in the beginning, we don't see a whole lot of destruction. He does take out a boat full of men, and he does go on a rampage in Tokyo, but his actions don't seem intentional or malicious. It's more like he's seeking sustenance, and these structures are just in his way. Like its box office rival, the Gamera franchise does seem to have its ups and downs. Maybe more downs than ups. But Gamera the Giant Monster is a decent movie for what it is. It doesn't have anything on the original 1954 Gogeta, which combined very good effects and solid performances with a sobering reality. But I don't think Gamera had such lofty ambitions, and while imperfect, this film is sufficiently entertaining and succeeds in introducing the world to a new, interesting creature. The giant turtle-human boy connection is the big thing that sets this movie apart, and from what I understand, that's a theme that continues throughout the series. Here is my plan. I am going to review the 90s Heisei trilogy, probably in December, if everything works out right. After that, I haven't decided. I have a lot of other movies I want to see, and I don't feel committed to reviewing the entire Gamera franchise like I did the Godzilla films. But I am thinking that when the time comes early next year, I will put it to a vote and let you choose which of the Gamera sequels I will watch and review. You might choose the best of the bunch, or you might choose the worst. It will be in your hands if I decide to do that. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and share how you feel about this first Gamera movie in the comments below if you like, and I'll be back soon. Thanks for watching!